all admire the irony of how in a democracy in America, we can't use that word in our media or else we'll get censored? That's great. But back then, the CIA didn't really have an official budget and they didn't have a bunch of money. They just had a bunch of friends. So James Forrestal and his good friend Alan Dulles solicited their friends and colleagues from Wall Street and Washington, business people, bankers, and politicians. But it was never enough. So the CIA's first mission ever was to overthrow a government and fix a word I can't say. And to do it, they used money that came from all of their business people, friends, bankers, etc. But they needed more money too. So he convinced Snyder to tap into the Exchange Stabilization Fund set up in the Depression to shore up the value of the dollar. Because who needs to do that anyways? A fund held $200 million that was earmarked for the reconstruction of Europe. And they funneled it into the bank accounts of a bunch of wealthy American citizens, a lot of them Italian Americans. One can only imagine what other organizations all these Italian Americans might have been a part of. They even told the donors to place a special code on their income tax forms alongside their charitable donation, so their CIA donations to help control a government over there was tax deductible. Quote, passing black bags to effect a political injection is not really a terribly attractive thing. No shit, but it worked. Italy's Christian Democrats won by a comfortable margin and formed a government that excluded communists. Good job, CIA. But don't worry, they just did it that one time. They would never do that in modern times. Except for when they did it in Japan and Guatemala and Iran and Indonesia and Vietnam and Laos and Nicaragua and Panama and Chile. I mean, I guess they've done it a few times, but they don't do it anymore. Like, certainly they wouldn't do it in any of these modern governments. But anyways, this book, it's a really good book. This has been my bedtime reading lately. It's called Legacy of Ashes. And Tim worked for the New York Times for a long time, so he's reporting like a mainstream take. But the reason why this is valuable, despite being a mainstream take, like for example, he doesn't acknowledge who actually did the thing to JFK, and he doesn't acknowledge a lot of other things that aren't like publicly disclosed. But what's so great about the book is he has personally dug through probably the most extensive compilation of primary sources of almost anyone about the CIA. This is the text of the book that's like 500 or 600 pages. And then it has 170 pages of primary sources. Okay, technically it's only this many pages because the back is an index, but all of this is him citing his sources. That's insane. And even though he misses all of the things that are horrible about the CIA that were never publicly disclosed, that we only know about because of like leaks or theories, it's still a really valuable book to like read between the lines. Transcripts from the president's office when they're ordering these like operations that weren't supposed to happen. He digs through all of the different congressional hearings. It just like gets you really inside information on what actually happened. And what actually happened is the CIA was basically set up to overthrow governments. And
this one looked pretty
that's
good.
Basically what they've been doing ever since. And when I started this channel, I didn't plan to talk about the CIA at all because like, why would you? I thought we were going to be talking about money and the stock market all the time. But like, if you want to understand how money and the stock market or government or world events works, you kind of need to know about the people that are professionals at controlling the world. So that's all for today. I know I've been off of here for a while, having internet problems, doing a bunch of remodeling and figuring out my new platforms and new tech. Things are going great. I'm happy. I'm healthy. Don't intend to have any accidents related to water or anything like that anytime soon. And this coming month, I'm going to be on the Shortform platforms a lot more because I know I've been missing you guys too. Drink your water. I'll see you soon. Do you know what the CIA's...
Alright, I'm going to test out the sound, see how it sounds.
December 14th, 1947,
everything looking good.
The Council issued its first top-secret orders to the CIA. The CIA set out to beat the Reds in the Italian word TikTok doesn't allow.
That looks good to me.
April 1948. And yes, let's just all admire the irony of how in a democracy in America, we can't use that word in our media or else we'll get censored. That's great. But back then, the CIA didn't really have an official budget and they didn't have a bunch of money. They just had a bunch of friends. So James Forrestal and his good friend Alan Dulles solicited their friends and colleagues from Wall Street and Washington, business people, bankers, and politicians. But it was never enough. So the CIA's first mission ever was to overthrow a government and fix a word I can't say. And to do it, they used
You've left the United States of America.
Yes, sir, I have.
Why?
I do not feel safe living in the United
Really?
States.
Do you want to come in and sit down?
No, sir, I'd rather not.
You'd rather just be here so you can make a fast exit if you have
As soon as you and I finish,
You're out
I'm
here.
leaving the country again. Why? Because in a very short time, not today, not tomorrow, but very soon, we'll be facing compulsory vaccination under the mistaken term of voluntary vaccination.
Now, what is it about these vaccinations? You think that they're bad?
Well, first of all, let's start with the fact that the World Health Organization...
This was like
has
10 years
decided
before
that we have
COVID.
90% too many people. The World Health Organization has been working since 1974 on vaccines to create permanent sterility.
Doctor, the response is going to be, you're crazy. How can you say this stuff?
They will induce a pandemic. You're going to get the flu. Everybody around us is going to get the flu. Then the United States government, based on their statements that they've already made, will say, oh my, we have a pandemic. What that means is a Holocaust, a genocidal Holocaust. Men and women will sicken and die, and those who survive will be infertile. Let me tell you a story.
Like, for 8 years, everybody thought she was crazy as fuck. And then the pandemic happened, and they're like, what happened to that girl?
And
she left the
one day,
country.
She said, you know, it's almost time for the great culling to begin.
The what?
That's what I said. The what? She said the great culling, C-U-L-L-I-N-G, when you thin the herd. I said, what are you talking about? She said, it's almost time for the useless eaters to be culled. And she said, those are the people who are consuming our non-renewable natural resources. I said, who are the people who make this decision? She said,
like
we,
COVID?
the aristocrats.
Like COVID?
This person
Yeah,
you talk to,
exactly.
you're bound because you're a physician, and there's the relationship that you can't talk. Is this person a member of the Bilderbergs?
She is not Queen Beatrice. She is not the Queen of England. She is not Henry Kissinger. But she certainly presented herself as a member of that power elite, and she certainly was a head of state.
You've left the United States.
They used to meet in secret to discuss their mathematical discoveries. Only members were allowed to attend. They had a secret emblem, the pentagram. Let's see what the topic is for today. It was our old friend Pythagoras who discovered that the pentagram was full of mathemagic. The two shorter lines combined exactly equal the third. And this line shows the magic proportions of the famous golden section. The second and third lines exactly equal the fourth. Once again we have the golden section. But this is only the beginning. Hidden within the pentagram is a secret for creating a golden rectangle.
I can't believe this is like
which the
cartoon.
Greeks admired for its beautiful proportions and magic qualities. The star contains the golden rectangle many times over.
They're just trying
know
to
what you missed? Well,
keep
you're
this
distracted by
information as
Jeffrey
good.
Epstein documents and G-side in the Middle East and aliens in Miami. One of the world's most infamous conspiracy theories? Stop being a theory. And I am talking about the McDonald's ice cream conspiracy. And oh boy, is it bigger and more sinister than you might think. And this case is direct evidence, proof even, that corporations engage in conspiracies for their benefit against us. And this one's fun and it's spicy. So So I'm going to briefly catch you up on the basics of the McDonald's ice cream conspiracy theory. And then I'm going to fill you in on the new lawsuit that sheds light on what's really going on. And this one goes right to the top, to emails sent by CEOs. So I'm sure you know that McDonald's is famous for having their ice cream machines down all the time. And it became so common throughout the 2010s that it became a meme. Mainstream news outlets started reporting on it, and people all over the internet started speculating on it. See, McDonald's ice cream maker is made by this company called Taylor, who's been making McDonald's equipment since McDonald's was founded. And if you own a McDonald's, you are required to use this ice cream machine. Johnny Harris made a great video about this a couple of years ago. Highly recommend you watch it, and it'll catch you up to speed to this new lawsuit that just came out right at the end of last year.
Mind-numbing 100-page instruction manuals for ice cream makers. I started talking to McDonald's franchise owners and managers, and yes, it turns out there is something really weird going on.
And when Johnny read through all those service manuals and read through a bunch of the financials, he discovered something interesting. In 2017, Taylor claimed that 25% of their revenues comes from recurring service, i.e. fixing the machines. According to the stats in this report, that would be $78.75 million a year. But in another report from the company, he found them claiming that actually they make $170 million a year just from maintenance and repair. The entire business model of this company is to put out a faulty product that franchisees are required to use and then to charge hefty fees to repair it constantly. But
sounds like a business model.
Conspiracy theories that will change your perspective on life. The last one is the most shocking. The Big Bounce theory. It states that if the Big Bang occurred from nothing, then there will be no changing fact the next time the universe is created. This means that when our universe ends and another is created, it will be created in the exact same way with the exact same galaxies, planets, and species. If this is true, our entire universe is in an endless cycle of creating and destroying itself, and you will be born into every universe endlessly. You can actually see who blocks you on TikTok. It's the first person that appears when you click share and more. The real reason Apple removed the headphone jack was to try to remove Square Pay systems as a competitor for Apple Pay. Ancestry DNA and the rest of those ancestry websites are run by the government to have access to people's DNA across reference crimes, etc. The food we have been eating in the United States is a huge part of the mental illness going on today. Like and follow for more interesting yet mind-bending conspiracies. Conspiracy theories that will change your perspective on life. The last one is the most shocking. The Big Bounce theory. It states that if the Big Bang occurred from nothing, then there will be no changing fact the next time the universe is created.
There's a theory that the Hoover Dam is secretly a demonic throne and that the government put angels there to cover it up. When you go to the Hoover Dam, you're gonna see something really odd. There's a spot that has two giant winged statues made out of bronze. They look like angels, right? They are technically called the winged figures of the Republic, but this is the weird part. No one officially says what they are. They're not angels, they're not demons, they're figures. And that's not random. There's actually a floor underneath them that is a cosmic map. It shows the exact alignment of the stars the day that the dam was completed. Like they wanted like aliens or gods to find this later. You'd think it's just some like artsy little design, right? But the guy who made that design said that this is specifically supposed to last for thousands of years. Like that design was supposed to outlive our civilization. And this is where it gets a little darker. People also call this place the throne of the devil. But why would a dam need a cosmic star map and then two 20, 30-foot bronze guardians? And then all of these like occult looking type symbols. Well, get this. So over 100 workers died while building the dam. And some people do believe that their bodies were sealed into the concrete and that they were considered to be sacrifices to bless the sculpture. And then on top of all of this, the location of these statues don't really make any sense. Like, why would they have these big designs at a power plant? And if you're religious, you also have to remember Satan was originally an angel. Another crazy thing to note is that the Hoover Dam has been featured in dozens of end-of-the-world movies, disaster scenes, and games. It has always been the center of destruction and secret technology. And then it's like, is that a coincidence, or is it programming for us to see it as the key to something? Even the name Hoover comes from a president who was involved in major U.S. power shifts, literal power and electricity. And this makes you wonder if the government is trying to hide in plain sight. Massive monuments with spiritual symbolism built into them. Government approved, celebrated, protected, and most of us never even question it. So when you pass by and you take a little selfie, you don't even realize you are standing on what some call a throne. But the question remains, a throne for who exactly? Let me know your thoughts in the comments and follow for more. There's a theory that the
They say the United States government mastered time travel over 50 years ago and used children as test subjects. In the late 1960s, a secret DARPA program called Project Pegasus allegedly created teleportation chambers powered by Nikola Tesla's stolen blueprints. Whistleblower Andrew Basiago claims he was only 6 years old when he stepped inside one, vanishing from a lab in New Jersey and reappearing at the Gettysburg Address in 1863. He says he's seen the year 2045, walked on Mars, and that the technology was powered by something called a chronovisor, a device that could bend space-time, eerily similar to real physics concepts like wormholes and quantum entanglement. But here's the chilling part. Basiago claims this technology is not only real, it's already being used to preview future wars, influence elections, and quietly rewrite history before it ever happens. If that's true, then our present isn't ours at all. What if the timeline we know is just one version they allowed us to see? How many other realities were erased before they could ever be lived? Follow for more hidden history.
We can hit a button, he said, and all of a sudden the skies are going to fill up with man-made ET craft, UFOs. What's more likely, however, is that we would then trigger our own man-made craft and creatures that are man-made to engage in all kinds of violent activity. And this they're planning to do anyway. See, this is the other problem. The long-term plan has been to take all these fleets of man-made UFOs, because trillions of dollars, and Lockheed Skunk Works and Northrop Grumman and Raytheon and SAIC and Booz Allen Hamilton and EG&G, all these big corporate contractors for these covert NHI retrieval craft operations. Over 70, 80 years, they've had massive breakthroughs beyond what you can imagine. And so that's why one of our whistleblowers, and when I was doing the briefings for Congress in 1997, he was taken out of the hotel the night before the congressional meetings and taken to a secure location, quote unquote, out in Virginia. And but before that, he had met with us and said he had been on an interagency committee where they could hit a button. This is 1974. He was on this committee 50 years ago. We can hit a button, he said, and all of a sudden the skies are going to fill up with man-made ET craft, UFOs. No one's going to know where they are, and they can engage and start doing violent activities, and it will fool everyone in the U.S. government and every government around the world, never mind the press and the media. That's why they started right before all this, right before the new administration, they started doing all this crazy drone stuff. They're sort of giving a little warning. We can start launching all kinds of stuff. And that was nothing. That was just, buffoonery.
I'm a retired FBI agent, and this is a conspiracy theory that keeps me up at night. In 2018, a treasure hunter tipped off the FBI to a large cache of buried, stolen Civil War gold in a rural part of Elk County, Pennsylvania. Now, the story goes, this treasure hunter had been looking into this since around 2011, probably further back than that. But his research showed that during the Civil War, a secret society known as the Knights of the Golden Circle, a group that operated in the North to sabotage the Northern efforts, one of them being to steal this gold that was on its way to the U.S. Mint in Philadelphia and then hide it. Why they never went back for it, I don't know. This treasure hunter had been operating or doing his research and looking for this stuff, and he located a site that was on public land in Pennsylvania. And he was operating under the permission of the Pennsylvania Department of Conservation and Natural Resources. It's somewhere along the way, this treasure hunter and the DCNR had a falling out, and he follows this up and goes to the FBI. He told them, or however he convinced them, they took it seriously enough to hire an outside agency to go in and do some very high-tech survey of the property to see if there's any validity to this. And sure enough, this high-tech equipment revealed that there was a large mass of some kind at this site underground. And then the FBI, also using pretty high-tech equipment, determined that there was the presence of gold. They end up getting a seizure warrant through a federal judge. They get a writ of entry that gives them access to the land. They do a 3-day search for this using an excavator and all kinds of techniques, to try to locate this stuff. Very well documented, I have to say. Very thoroughly documented. And they found nothing. No sign of Civil War gold, no sign that anything had been buried there. Now,
yeah, they obviously stole all the gold.
There's a lawsuit between...
Check out this license plate number in the movie Conspiracy Theory. VKY722. I looked it up on Google, and it does not acknowledge the movie having this same license plate that was in...
There's a conspiracy theory that claims that we're already dead, and the evidence comes from science. There are 2 things that are documented to happen when someone clinically dies. The first is that you're...
Have you guys seen this conspiracy of this guy saw like a giant? This is so weird. Okay, so this guy was driving, and then there's a state park there with this big mountain, and he's like, what in the world? Looks like there's like a giant walking on the mountain. And so then he's just started pursuing it. Like, I need to find out what this is.
Yeah.
He tried to go up the state park road. There was a guy who claimed he was CIA and said the road's closed, turn around. But this car just kept on showing up at his house. And like he gets a video of like, he like looks out the window. He runs outside. The car peels and just drives away. And then he like put out this statement, and it was almost like he was reading off of something like, hey, those videos I did,
I was just kidding.
Yeah, they're fake. I'm just kidding. And then he just disappears.
There's this guy like this behind the camera.
He's gone. You're not hearing what I'm saying.
Yes!
He's gone.
I heard it. Wait, gone?
They don't know where he is.
He's a missing person.
He's missing.
Oh my gosh, guys. Okay,
and
but wait,
presumed deceased. Have you guys seen this conspiracy of this guy saw like a giant? This is so weird. Okay, so this guy...
Craziest conspiracy of all time. Stay till the end because this gets really wild. So, the craziest conspiracy theory of all time, as according to Reddit, is that 23andMe, that they're looking for a bloodline that is directly related to Jesus Christ. That's what they're looking for. 23andMe has been in business for quite a while. Now, where did they possibly get the genetic blood that would have been in Jesus? Would they have gotten it from the Shroud of Turin? Possibly. The Vatican is full of secrets. So 23andMe is the reported conspiracy theory where they have been taking blood from everybody, or saliva, or whatever, and saying, hey, we're going to show you where you're located from in the entire planet, and possibly you might be related to somebody in Jerusalem. And if you are, then they're doing further testing on it to find out if you are in fact related to Jesus, because, and this is what you're waiting for, because they know Jesus was superhuman, or possibly extraterrestrial, with superhuman powers, and the genetic bloodline from Jesus would also be superhuman, and the government, or multiple governments, want those individuals to be part of their programs, part of their projects, utilizing that blood to create super soldiers, right? To possibly protect us from alien species. Now, if you think that's true, let me know what you think. It is an interesting theory. I mean, somehow it kind of makes...
I was born in 1969.
Great year.
One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Just all of the evidence of we can't even get into low Earth orbit. Russians beat us, right? And so we go, okay, we got to one-up them. So we're going to fly to the moon, hang out, film like dancing.
Hippity-hoppity, hippity-hoppin' over hill.
All of the Kubrick made it. All of the shadows are wrong. It looks like a set. There's no stars. We didn't have computers. We not only shoot it, we beam it back somehow. And the whole flag is waving, which it shouldn't be doing, all this stuff. But then we launch from the lander, again, to come back to Earth. And then have to hit a thing at precisely the right time that's orbiting the moon to launch us back to Earth.
Yeah. Oh, it's incredible.
Highly suspicious, my friend.
Okay, well...
debunk it!
All right, let's try to take it piece by piece. Well, I think the biggest thing I always tell people, we created incredible technology, the biggest rockets in human history, and the most advanced computers of their time. We spent so much money in search of the singular goal laid out by a president who wasn't there anymore in his memory. Literally tens of thousands of the brightest people America had ever made. If we didn't do it, it would have been stupid.
Not a great argument. How you debunked my argument is pretty good.
Okay, we have moon rocks from the surface of the moon, and we can look at the isotopic signature and understand that that's not Earth rock. It's been bombarded by the cosmic wind. It's 4.5 billion years old. I've held moon rocks. I've even done things like there's a retroreflector on the moon that was left by the Apollo astronauts. You can take a laser on Earth and you can bounce the laser off those retroreflectors, and the amount of time it takes the light to get from here and back tells you very precisely the distance. And, you know, the LRO, Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter, you know, is a newer mission where it's in orbit around the moon and can see those landing sites and everything. It was an incredible national project, and I think it's a shame that we didn't go after that.
So we're putting one of the largest conspiracy theories of all time to bed.
Single-handedly?
I'm sure there'll be no comments about that whatsoever other than
You look like you're in a studio, maybe in Omaha, Nebraska or something. The shot is so clear. Is this a hoax? Are you really in space still?
See the hair? See the hair?
Oh yeah, we see your hair, and we can totally see the hairspray that is quite obviously in your hair. But that's not even the worst part of this video. Now keep your eyes right here. He obviously pulls on something, a wire harness, something. And then there's this guy who's handling something invisible and then putting it on the shelf where it's obviously supposed to go. And then there's this guy who's just casually floating back and forth just to show we're in space, in case you forgot. And then we have this guy here. It's the incredible disappearing astronaut. What just happened there? Now this astronaut is looking like he's trying to demonstrate something, so he goes to pull out a screw and drops it. And here we have Tom Cruise in the first Mission Impossible movie wearing a harness. Oh no, it's just an astronaut wearing a harness. Check this one out. This dude totally gets his leg stuck. Look right there. Here, I had to show it again. Look at that. Now, we all know that they do actually train astronauts underwater to mimic what it's like to be in outer space. But in this next footage here, it's supposed to be a spacewalk, when you can clearly see in the reflection what looks to be a scuba diver taking the video.
You look like you're in a studio, maybe in Omaha, Nebraska.
The craziest conspiracy theory ever. And stay till the end because this gets wild. So the conspiracy theory about the Atlas 3I comet, alien spaceship, you want to call it. The alien spaceship is 12 miles long. It just released a ton of water in space. Why would it do that? Now, there's a theory that this alien spaceship is coming back for the aliens that are here. If that is true, which aliens would they be? We just had an earthquake, 8.8, that caused a massive tsunami. A lot of people are talking about aliens under the water and all these UFOs that are popping out. If these aliens are coming back for aliens underwater, it would make sense that the aliens that are on that ship would need a lot of water on that ship to fill up 12 miles worth of a ship, and that they would be the octopus that are coming back for their children that have been birthed here on Earth to bring them back to their home planet. Maybe this Earth is the perfect place for them to be birthed, and they're going back. So if this is true, then this would lend credence to people believing that scientists also believe this, that octopus are from other planets. A 12-mile-long ship would hold a ton of water. Maybe they released it to get some fresh water released from its own ship. What do you think? True or not? Let's hear what you have to say. Put your comment in the comment section. I guess we're going to find out a
Reality is a simulation, and Jesus knew it, and he tried to warn us, but the church erased it. Sound crazy? Well, then ask yourself this. Have you ever wondered if everything that you see, everything you touch, could be an illusion? A hologram, a simulation, a cosmic deepfake? Well, Jesus already figured this out 2,000 years ago, and what's even wilder is that modern physics is proving him right. See, today, scientists are discovering that matter doesn't even exist, that everything is just structured information, a projection from a higher reality. But here's the crazy part. An ancient book called The Sophia of Jesus Christ revealed this secret almost 2,000 years ago, and the church was so terrified of what it said that they banned it. So if this world is an illusion, then who built it? And more importantly, how do you escape? And by the end of this video, you'll know. And once you do, you'll never see reality the same way again. The Sophia of Jesus Christ is a book that was likely written in the 1st or 2nd century CE, and the church was not happy. They tried to Control-Alt-Delete this info by banning it and persecuting anyone who had it. But luckily, it was discovered in 1945, buried near the tombs of Egypt. And in this book, Jesus appears not in the flesh, but as pure, blinding light. But who is the Sophia in the Sophia of Jesus Christ? Well, Sophia is the Greek word for wisdom. So this book is called The Wisdom of Jesus Christ. But Sophia is also a goddess of pure light, more powerful than the God of the Bible. So we'll get to that soon, but first, what exactly does this book the church feared so much actually reveal? According to this book, after the crucifixion, Jesus' followers were basically having an existential crisis. The man that they thought was going to bring about a new reality was just dead. Game over. Or so they thought, because something insane happened. According to the Sophia of Jesus Christ, Jesus returned, but not in the way that anyone was expecting, and he was about to reveal that this world is nothing like what it seems. The text says, "The Savior appeared, not in his previous form, but in the invisible spirit, and his likeness resembles a great angel of light. But his resemblance I must not describe. No mortal flesh could endure it, but only pure, perfect flesh." So this was Jesus 2.0, not as a body, but as light, a light that's so pure the average person couldn't even look at him. So why is this important? Well, he wasn't just trying to make a dramatic entrance. Jesus was showing that he basically hacked his way out of the simulation, because reality, it's not made of matter. He was like Neo, free from the Matrix, and his message to the disciples, reality is not what you were told. Now, his disciples, which were 12 men and 7 women, according to this book, gathered around a mountain called Divination and Joy. And they were confused. They had seen Jesus die, but here he was, like an angel of light. And they weren't asking him about love thy neighbor, fish and loaves, or turning the other cheek. They wanted answers. So they straight up asked him, what is the underlying reality of the universe? Now hold on for a minute. Pause. Do you notice something different here? This isn't the Bible story they tell you in church. They weren't asking about simple moral lessons or parables. They wanted to know what reality itself actually is. And Jesus, he didn't sugarcoat it. He didn't tell them to just have faith or pray on it. Instead, he hit them with this. I want you to know that all men from the foundation of the world until now, while they have inquired about God, who he is and what he is like, they have not found him. The wisest among them have speculated from the ordering of the world and its movements, but their speculation has not reached the truth. So Jesus was saying that no one has figured this out. Not the greatest philosophers, not the holiest priests, not even that one friend who always thinks they've unlocked the universe after one ayahuasca trip, because they've all been looking in the wrong place. But Jesus wasn't trapped like them because he wasn't from here. He tells them, I, who came from infinite light, am here, for I know him, light, that I might speak to you about the precise nature of the truth. So Jesus is straight up saying that he came from beyond this world, beyond this simulation, this illusion, this prison of a false reality. And then he casually drops this bombshell. I want you to know that everything that exists was brought forth from a single source of infinite light, but the world itself is polluted. So did you catch that? He just said that everything that exists, everything was born from a singularity of infinite light. Do you know how crazy this is? This is a book that's almost 2,000 years old, and Jesus was literally talking about the Big Bang thousands of years years before modern science even existed. But Jesus didn't stop there. The world we live in, he's saying it's not real and that everything comes from light. But the material world is a polluted version of that something greater, purer, that's hidden from us. All right, so maybe you're thinking, okay, but this is all just a bunch of mystical mumbo-jumbo speculation, right? Well, no. It turns out that modern physics has been inching towards the exact same conclusion, except instead of calling it divine revelation, they called it quantum mechanics. Enter David Bohm, who is light. How? Well, it works by manipulating how light waves interact with each other, and it creates an illusion of depth and form. So at its core, a hologram is possible because light behaves like a wave. So when you is already wrong, but since the text uses it, we'll roll with it for now. But in reality, the true God, the source of divine light, is beyond gender, beyond form, beyond anything we can imagine. So Philip had a good question, and Jesus has a great answer. Before anything is visible, the majesty and the authority are in him, since he embraces the whole of the totalities while nothing embraces him. Everything, the entire universe, every star, every soul, every hidden reality, everything.
The Serpent Protocol. How reptilians run the U.S. government. A race of ancient reptilian beings, originating from the Alpha Draconis star system, infiltrated Earth thousands of years ago. They've slowly embedded themselves in positions of global power, with the U.S. government as their modern command center. They don't just influence politics, they are the politicians. The reptilians came to Earth 12,000 years ago during the fall of Atlantis. They hid underground in vast subterranean cities, known as the Draco Chambers, particularly beneath what is now Washington, D.C. George Washington made a secret pact with the reptilians, who promised technological advancement and global dominance in exchange for partial control of the new nation. The Great Seal of the United States, with the all-seeing eye, is actually an ancient reptilian symbol for WatcherCast. Key government officials, presidents, senators, CIA directors are either full reptilian shapeshifters or genetically modified hybrids. Every U.S. president since 1945 has undergone a secret serpent rite in a hidden chamber beneath the Capitol to receive reptilian DNA enhancements. These enhancements allow them to better control the masses using empathic suppression fields, advanced tech disguised as telecommunications. The reptilians use 5G towers to broadcast low-frequency waves that dull human intuition and promote obedience. Citizens who question authority are flagged by the NSA and observed for signs of awakening. Fluoride isn't for dental health. It calcifies the pineal gland, preventing humans from seeing through reptilian shape-shifting illusions. News anchors and Hollywood actors are trained by the Order of the Molted Tongue, a reptilian-run guild that specializes in narrative control. The Oscars, Super Bowl, and presidential inaugurations are actually ritual energy harvest events. Video glitches, where politicians' eyes change or voices distort during live broadcasts. C-SPAN blackouts that occur right before major policy shifts. The District of Columbia's street grid forms a reptilian sigil when viewed from above. Every U.S. president since Eisenhower has had weird vertical blinking patterns. The reptilians' long game is called the Serpent Protocol. Destabilize national identities, promote globalism, replace organic food with genetically altered products that weaken mammalian DNA, digitize currency to enslave humanity under a code-based caste system, phase out elected leaders and replace them with AI-powered reptilian proxies by 2040. Use shungite crystals to block mind waves. Drinks.
This is the biggest conspiracy theory of all time, and stay till the end because it just gets crazier and crazier. This involves Bob Ross, the man, the legend that painted beautiful landscapes. Why did he paint such beautiful landscapes?
So how do you cause something to go from the future to the past?
If I were at an intelligence agency and I heard there was a guy with the highest IQ ever recorded who was contradicting the liberal establishment agenda, I'd probably have a file on that guy. Have you,
What's up, Punisher?
Have you had any run-ins with the...
Some interest has been shown.
Most of us have an IQ of 100, score in the 140 range, and you're in the genius to near genius category. 195 to 200, well, you're talking 1 in several billion people. Now, historians figure that Einstein and Franklin scored about 160, Darwin 165, Galileo 185, Isaac Newton 190.
That means Langan could possibly be the smartest person in the world.
So for those of us who have an IQ that's a little bit lower than yours, I'll admit it, with no false modesty and no undue confidence, the first question we have to establish: does God exist?
Yes. The reality has an identity. Okay? The identity is that as which something exists. Okay? Matter of fact, when you say the word reality, you're naming an identity. It is, you're identifying something. This.
I'm smiling because your answer on this is so beautiful. It just reminds me of Moses at the burning bush. And Moses at the burning bush says, "Who shall I tell the people that you are?" Talking to God. And God says, "Tell them I am that I am."
That's right.
I am identity itself. I'm being himself.
Exactly. That's exactly right. That's what the CTMU says. It just comes up with the mathematical structure that you need to build a reality out of that. You see? So you come up with that identity, and then you search it for its properties. You see, once you've built the preliminary framework, then you start deducing the properties of this identity, and you find out that those properties match those of God as described in most of the world's major religions. The reality isn't just geometric, which is what Einstein thought it was, nor is
the moon
it
is hollow. I can look into that.
Blend of the two, right? Russell saw it as
The Hollow Moon. The Hollow Moon. We explore the evidence and questions surrounding this controversial
There it is,
theory
the
that
hollow moon.
challenges conventional lunar science. The moon's surface, a mosaic of craters. The moon's surface is a testament to its tumultuous past. Tens of thousands of impact craters, ranging in size, scar its landscape. Scientists attribute this lunar pockmarking to the absence of an atmosphere that would otherwise shield it from space debris. Unlike Earth, the moon lacks natural erosive forces, such as wind and water, which would gradually erase these celestial battle scars. However, it's not just the sheer number of craters that has puzzled researchers, it's their uniform depth. As the transcript from Ancient Aliens suggests, lunar craters, both large and small, exhibit surprisingly consistent depths. In contrast, on a typical planetary body, you'd expect variations in crater depths depending on factors like the size of the impactor and the surface composition. This uniformity in lunar crater depth challenges established geophysics and raises questions about what lies beneath the moon's surface. The resilient
This is gonna keep you up while you sleep tonight. The hollow moon theory. Our moon really doesn't make sense when you look at the facts. Like, it shouldn't exist. The moon is about 25% of Earth's size, the biggest moon to planet ratio of our entire solar system. Pluto's not a planet, that doesn't count. That's 72 times larger than the expected average moon to planet ratio of our solar system. Moons are just not supposed to be this big relative to their home planet, but sure, maybe we got lucky. Despite this, the moon is only 1% of Earth's mass. 1%. meaning it is way lighter than it's expected to be, and we really don't even know why. Unless, of course, the moon is either extremely porous like a sponge or a hollow shell. When looking at this data, NASA's own Dr. Gordon McDonald even said himself it would seem that the moon is more like a hollow than a homogeneous sphere. But oh, that's just the tip, and we ain't stopping. Our moon's orbit is way closer than that of any of the other over 400 moons in our solar system, and also has a near perfectly circular orbital path. We don't see this on any other planet, which all have moons with wildly eccentric orbits. Our moon also coincidentally appears as the exact same size as the sun in our sky, despite our sun having drifted by Earth and was captured by its gravity, and the accretion theory, suggesting that as the early Earth was forming in its accretion disk, a part of that disk clumped together to become the moon. But when studying rock samples from the surface of the moon, we find out that none of these theories quite make any sense. With other NASA scientists,
where did the hollow moon conspiracy come from? It actually
yeah, the aliens are here.
The Apollo missions. During Apollo 12.
In 1899, Nikola Tesla believed he had intercepted a message from the stars. He was experimenting with a high-frequency receiver, an early design for long-range radio transmission. But what came through wasn't static. It was patterned,
He was talking with a Black Knight
Tesla
satellite.
believed it was artificial. A signal, not from Earth. Decades later, other radio operators reported hearing something similar. Bursts of unexplained transmissions, unmapped frequencies. It didn't stop there. In 1954, newspapers across the U.S. reported that the Air Force had detected 2 satellites orbiting Earth. But at the time, no country on Earth had the capability to launch anything into space. Sputnik wouldn't launch for another 3 years. So what were they tracking? The object was dark. It moved in a polar orbit, something impossible with the propulsion systems of the time. Polar orbits aren't designed for communication. They're built for surveillance. The object didn't match any known satellite, and it didn't respond to any known frequency. Some dismissed it as misidentified debris. Others called it ancient. It would later be named the Black Knight satellite. But long before that, there was another reference. Stranger, older. A quatrain attributed to Nostradamus spoke of a machine in the heavens sent by the Watchers, rediscovered by man, and feared for what it would reveal. Whether that's prophecy or coincidence, it's hard to ignore how closely the language fits. A machine in orbit, not ours, waiting to be found. In 1998, during the STS-88 space shuttle mission, astronauts photographed something that shouldn't have been there. A large, irregular object hanging in low Earth orbit, angular, black. NASA labeled it a piece of insulation that had come loose. But the image is clear. It doesn't look like debris. It looks designed. No nation has claimed it. No origin has been traced. Some believe it's been up there for thousands of years. A probe, a relic, a piece of ancient technology left behind to observe us. A satellite from the Watchers. If it's real, if it's what some believe it is, then we've been under surveillance since before we knew how to look back. In October 2017, astronomers at the University of Hawaii detected something strange. A long, thin object was moving through the solar system. It wasn't. Scientists said it was. For starters, it's too big. It doesn't quite add up. Some ancient myths speak of a time before the moon existed, a sky without it. So if it wasn't formed naturally, was it placed? Was it brought here? By someone or something, long before we arrived?
No editing, no photoshopping, just looking at it. There's videos on YouTube, you can pull them up all day long. You can find videos about the moon. There's one guy, Mars Anomalies, Chris Maroney. He was actually in my documentary. He's
too big, too round, too weird. The moon exposed. What if I told you the moon isn't what it seems? It's not just a rock circling Earth. It's a cosmic oddity that breaks the usual patterns. Some of these details are well documented, like Apollo.
This one. This is gonna keep you up while you sleep tonight.
First, we have episode 68, the Hollow Moon Theory. And I'll admit that when I first heard this theory, I thought it was the dumbest thing I'd ever heard. And then about halfway through the research, I started thinking that the moon is kind of weird. And then by the time I finished the episode, I was fully convinced the moon is the hollow spaceship that was brought here from some part of the galaxy.
It's because it is.
There aren't many episodes of the Y-Files that turn me from skeptic to believer, but this... Science tells us that the moon is a cold, lifeless place. It has no atmosphere. There hasn't been seismic activity for millions of years. Its core, unlike the Earth's, is cold. For a supposedly dead world, there's the days of Aristotle, astronomers have seen strange lights appear on the surface of the moon, sometimes visible with the naked eye. NASA even reported that between the years 1540 and 1967,
What the hell is going on in this planet? So according to NASA, the aliens that's supposed to be coming here in November have a strong resemblance to us. The aggressive aliens that's on their way to Earth that's supposed to get here in November resemble African American people. And they're saying they're around 7 feet tall. And if that's the case, we already know why they're aggressive. We already know what they're coming back here for. Earlier this summer, the Pentagon said that the Anunnaki will be back here in the next 2 years. And now NASA, of course, again, NASA is saying that the aliens that are coming here this November look like African Americans. You do the math. The truth of the matter is the truth has been hidden for way too long about what this planet is, where this planet came from, who we are as a people. And apparently those interstellar beings that's coming here are coming here for a reason. And apparently
They're gonna play some Space
someone is
Jam.
keeping contact with them. Someone knows their true purpose. Because you can't randomly just say that they're aggressive and they're coming here aggressively if you haven't spoken to them or if they're not here already. Welcome to 2025. I want to see what's next.
Because it has anomalies. It moves on a trajectory that is very unusual. It is aligned with the orbit of the Earth around the Sun, and it will get extremely close to the inner planets, like for.
So apparently, allegedly, we have aliens that are coming to Earth. And as much as I want to believe it, the math is not mathing. At first they said we had until mid-November, early December to prepare for this invasion. And now they're saying that it could be the beginning of September. So I'm not really sure whose math is not doing the equations properly. But can someone get their shit together and freaking find out for me? Thanks. But on top of all that, and on top of all the things that anything to do with us, like, I think that we're the planet. It's kind of like driving through a shady neighborhood. When you go through it, you like lock your doors and roll up your windows, and you're like, drive as fast as you freaking can, Frank, so they don't stop us. So I think that's how they feel about Earth.
Yes.
What's up?
What's up, man?
Yeah. So how are you?
How are you doing?
I am good. Hey, William, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Lebanon Garden.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Hi, guys.
Hi, guys.
Today and this year,
Today and this year,
I must learn English.
I must learn.
NASA is almost 100% sure that in November, the aliens are coming. They even state that the first glance at the three-eye atlas was at the beginning of July, which they seen through the NASA's Atlas telescope. Now they stating that this mothership is 12 miles wide and it's traveling at 37 miles per second. They even state that a mysterious object, the three-eye atlas, has entered our solar system and it's the third confirmation. But is it just a comet
or is it alien technology? They state that its trajectory will bring it within 130 million miles of Earth on October 30th. But here's the question. Why are they coming? There's even been reports by NASA saying that these aliens are almost 7 feet tall. Even more crazy is that they state that they resemble us. Come November 1st, will it be the final days? Do you believe aliens exist? Do you believe that they finna...
Nigga alert.
Y'all, somebody need to tell us something, y'all. I'm gonna have... Y'all, so now they said the aliens will be here in 2 weeks. 2 weeks? Who the hell is talking to them? Who is communicating with them that they telling them when they coming? How do they speak English? Cause how are they even... Y'all, somebody need to tell us something, y'all. I'm gonna have to hurry up and get my hair cut. They gonna think I'm one of them. Cause when did it change from November to 2 weeks? That's a big jump. That is a big ass difference. No, it ain't even hit September. It just hit August. So they skipped from all the rest of August, all of September, and now they coming in 2 weeks. Y'all, what the hell is really going on? I gotta go get my hair cut, baby, because they gonna think I'm one of them. They gonna try to zap me up in one of them motherfucking spacecrafts and take me back with them if I don't do something about this here fast. Y'all, so now they said the aliens will be here in 2 weeks. 2 weeks? Who the hell is talking to them? Who is communicating?
60 Seconds, the new draft report on UFOs. The Pentagon's expert warning about a possible mothership coming close to Earth. Stay with us. It may sound straight out of a movie, but the Pentagon and a Harvard scientist have collaborated on a new draft report questioning if we're alone in the universe and whether we've already seen evidence of life beyond Earth. Here's Gadi Schwartz.
Move over, Chinese spy balloon, or whatever else U.S. fighter jet shot down last month. Tonight, out of Harvard University, a draft paper about mysterious flying objects sounding almost like science fiction.
I think it's very likely that we are not the most intelligent civilization that ever existed.
Renowned Harvard astronomer Avi Loeb teaming up with the new head of the Pentagon's UFO office, dubbed the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office. Together, they say that interstellar objects detected in space could be signs of extraterrestrial life, and that current sky mapping technology, like the James Webb Space Telescope, could miss such objects.
It could have been a mother ship that released some probes in the habitable region around the sun. If we have a visitor to our backyard, we should observe it at first.
Professor Loeb now leading the charge to build better arrays of sensors to capture anomalies, but saying for now everything is hypothetical, and his paper is really meant to remind UFO hunters not to forget the laws of physics.
As much as the reports from military personnel are intriguing and motivate my work right now, I want my instruments to tell me what is really happening.
Meanwhile, more videos surfacing showing odd objects have been leaked to documentary UFO filmmaker Jeremy Corbell, who recently released pictures of an orb shape over Mosul, and these images showing a cylinder flying over a rock. The Pentagon not commenting on the recent videos, but confirming prior videos released by Corbell had been filmed by service members. As for what they are, definitive explanations remain out of reach.
60 Seconds, the new draft report on UFOs. The Pentagon's expert warning.
Okay, real quick alien update for you guys. So the aliens that are supposed to be coming in 2 weeks, I guess they're talking to the people at Harvard. So they're smart. They're not just talking to some state university people, but they're talking to the people at Harvard, and they told them that they are not the Anunnaki who they thought that's who was coming. Also, their mothership is 12 miles long, and he said that it's not really them you have to worry about. You actually need to worry about the aliens coming up behind them, because they're the real bad aliens, and even these aliens that are supposed to be here in 2 weeks are scared of the aliens coming up behind them. So I guess, we got that to look forward to. So anyways, that's your alien update for today. So we shall see what's to come. Okay, real quick alien update for you guys. So the aliens that are supposed to be coming in 2
We'll
weeks,
see.
I guess they're talking to the people.
The aliens are coming. The fucking aliens are coming.
Earlier this summer, the Pentagon said that the Anunnaki will be back here in the next 2 years. And now NASA, of course, again, NASA, is saying that the aliens that are coming here this November look like African Americans. You do the math. The truth of the matter is, the truth has been hidden for way too long about what this planet is.
We gotta get ready
where this planet came from.
for Space Jam.
Earlier this summer, the Pentagon said that the Anunnaki will be back here in the next.
So I know you guys heard of this.
Have you guys seen this? Have you guys seen this conspiracy of this guy saw like a giant? This is so weird. Okay, so this guy was driving and then there's a state park there with this big mountain. And he's like, what in the world? Looks like there's like a giant walking on the mountain. And so then he's just started pursuing it.
These are some of the scariest conspiracy theories in the world, but we're going to keep going until we find the craziest one. There's actually a huge conspiracy that the Denver International Airport is the Illuminati's headquarters, which is crazy. So basically, since a lot of people already have this conspiracy, the airport themselves have embraced the rumors by poking fun at it, like...
What? You've never heard this?
No.
It's the greatest story ever, bro. It's the greatest story.
So the Nazis made a deal with the aliens?
Yes.
Holy shit.
For technology, and the deal was they were going to work together, okay? I know this sounds crazy. So basically the aliens go down and Klaus Schwab's dad go down and meet with Eisenhower. It's going to be like we could either do it one way or the other way. We can do it nice or we can do it the wrong way. And that's where they say Eisenhower made a deal with these aliens that they could kidnap people and do experiments, but they couldn't just do it anywhere. They had specific places, which were our national forest. What? Yeah, dude. You've never heard of this. The missing 411 come from?
The missing information? What missing information?
No, the missing 411.
What do you mean by that?
Which is all these people have mysteriously disappeared in force. And they don't know
you're not
how.
talking about the missing 411 like information.
No.
So missing 411 is the number of people that have been abducted?
Yeah, and it's all really weird because they all have a lot of similar characteristics.
What?
You've never heard this?
No.
It's the greatest story ever, bro. It's the.
You know what the CIA's very first mission ever in its history was? On December 14th, 1947, the National Security Council issued its first top-secret orders to the CIA. The CIA set out to beat the Reds in the Italian word TikTok doesn't allow, set for April 1948. And yes, let's just all admire the irony of how in a democracy in America, we can't use that word in our media or else we'll get censored. That's great. But back then, the CIA didn't really have an official budget and they didn't have a bunch of money. They just had a bunch of friends. So James Forrestal and his good friend Alan Dulles solicited their friends and colleagues from
Maintain
Wall Street
cover.
and Washington. Business people, bankers, and politicians.
Good advice.
But it was never enough. So the CIA's first mission ever was to overthrow a government and fix a word I can't say. And to do it, they used money that came from all of their business people, friends, bankers, etc. But they needed more money too. So he convinced Snyder to tap into the Exchange Stabilization Fund set up in the Depression to shore up the value of the dollar. Because who needs to do that anyways? The fund held $200 million that was earmarked for the reconstruction of Europe. And they funneled it into the bank accounts of a bunch of wealthy American citizens, a lot of them Italian Americans. One can only imagine what other organizations all these Italian Americans might have been a part of. They even told the donors to place a special code on their income tax forms alongside their charitable donation, so their CIA donations to help control a government over there was tax deductible. Quote, passing black bags to effect a political injection is not really a terribly attractive thing. No shit, but it worked. Italy's Christian Democrats won by a comfortable margin and formed a government that excluded communists. Good job, CIA. But don't worry. Want to know what you missed while you're distracted by Jeffrey Epstein documents and G-Side in the Middle East and aliens in Miami? One of the world's most infamous conspiracy theories? Stop being a theory. And I am talking about the McDonald's ice cream conspiracy. And oh boy, is it bigger and more sinister.
These are the
I've already seen that one.
conspiracy theories in the world, but we're going to keep going until we find the craziest one. A lot of people haven't heard about this one, but there's actually a conspiracy that a solar flare is what caused the Titanic to sink, which is crazy. So this is actually thanks to a new study, but it discovered that the northern hemisphere was actually experimenting a moderate to severe magnetic storm on the night of the ship's collision. So the conspiracy is that this storm could have affected the ship's radar and the radio rescue signals, so that's why it had crashed. There's a huge conspiracy called the NASA Blue Beam Project. This one's wild. Basically, this conspiracy says that NASA is planning on projecting giant 3D holograms of religious figures into the atmosphere to initiate a spiritual apocalypse. This one's wild. Hey, everybody knows what Area 51 is, but it wouldn't
It's probably gonna be like that asteroid's coming, right?
Obviously, you know the conspiracy. Area 51 is for aliens, right? So they say that Area 51 in Nevada is actually a military installation at the Nellis Military Operations Area. This is what people don't believe. Obviously, as you do know, the conspiracy is that Area 51 is researching and experimenting on aliens and their spacecraft. I don't know what to believe. I'm staying silent. The government has officially come out and said that the facility is used to test experimental aircraft for the military. That's something the government...
This is the biggest conspiracy theory of all time, and stay till the end because it just gets crazier and crazier. This involves Bob Ross, the man, the legend that painted beautiful landscapes. Why did he paint such beautiful landscapes, and who was he before he was a painter? Let's get into it. So before he was a painter, he was a drill instructor for the United States Air Force. He was stationed in one of the harshest areas to live in, Alaska, for 20 years. He retired. He wanted peace and comfort and tranquility, and he found it in painting. Why did he need peace and quiet and tranquility? Well, as you know, drill instructors are tough, hard-nosed, and have to be difficult on their recruits, right?
It's a thing.
The thrill of the hunt by painting and saying that it was going to be calm and peaceful and nice.
But what you got in South America were isolated German-only communities. You could go into Bariloche, Argentina, and I'd be like, "Buenos dias, amigos," and they're like, "Guten Morgen." I'm like, "Oh,
yeah, that's where they went after World War II."
Going around that people who've never broken a bone aren't normal, not special, not lucky, just different. Some say their bones don't break because they're not supposed to, like their body knows something we don't, or worse, that they're not fully human. There's even talk in certain forums. People wondering why these individuals also tend to heal fast, don't get sick often, and sometimes don't even remember major injuries. One theory says they're part of a hidden group, a genetic experiment, or something older, something not from here. But here's the weirdest part. A handful of people who've never broken a bone, they all disappeared after sudden freak accidents. Coincidence? Or did something come back for them? So, have you ever broken a bone? There's a theory going around that people who've never broken a bone aren't normal, not special.
I don't know about that one.
One of the craziest conspiracy theories I've ever heard is called Thursdayism. And what that is people think last Thursday, everything in the entire universe was created.
Last
Gifted and
Thursdayism.
talented programs, sometimes called the GATE program, that you may have gone through as a child are so much weirder than I thought they were going to be when I first started making these videos. After talking with so many of you, there are a few more really weird similarities that a lot of you have in common that I feel compelled to share to see if there's even more people out there who identify with this insane list of things. First and foremost, so many of you are in the military or have family in the military. A lot of these experiences happened on legitimate military bases. A lot of people ended up going into the military or in some sort of special forces or intelligence role after being in the GATE program. And I had one person who is in the NSA currently who said most of the people that she works with were also GATE kids. Also, very specifically, a lot of you work in gun stores. Another super common thing that people kept bringing up is that they have very weird family ties to secret organizations, primarily Freemasonry, but there is a lot of very specific religious cults that are secretly tied in with Freemasonry that people reported their family being in. For some unknown reason, a ton of kids who went through these gifted and talented programs later in life found themselves drawn to the gateway tapes or the gateway experience. A surprising amount of you experience really insane psychic phenomena and also alien abductions. A lot of them. I feel like at this point I have to tell you exactly what my opinions are about what GATE program actually is. If you already watched my video on the history of the GATE program, which you can find in the playlist down below, you already know that there is a strong link between these education programs and government programs, namely the CIA. I am of the opinion, for entertainment purposes only, that these programs were designed to find and
they always have to say that
the government thought that they could use in various roles. Although there's a ton of overlap with all of your experiences, one of the reasons why I think that we have a lot of variation in what we went through as children is because there is a lot of variation in what the government may want to use very smart or gifted children in the future. I think that they put us in very specialized classes designed to test us on these abilities and also foster them in us. One of the biggest
5 creepiest conspiracies that might be true. Denver Airport's bizarre murals and underground tunnels have sparked theories that it's the HQ for a secret society. What's really hiding beneath? Did we really land on the moon? Some believe the 1969 moon landing was staged, with evidence pointing to inconsistencies in the footage. A strange object known as the Black Knight satellite has been orbiting Earth years. Is it a natural phenomenon or evidence of alien life? Rumors of mind control and time travel experiments swirl around the Montauk Project, a supposed secret government program in New York. Stranger than fiction or terrifyingly real? The Illuminati, a shadowy group said to control world events from behind the scenes. Is it just a myth, or are they truly pulling the strings?
How can it be maybe a myth?
Francis
They won't shut up
one
about
of
themselves.
the craziest conspiracies I've seen where people are fully convinced that this
is not a conspiracy. This is scary. So in 2018, scientists discovered a black hole really far. Like I want to say it was like 16 million light years away. Something crazy.
Whoa.
Super far from us. They're watching it literally swallow a star.
Oof.
It was sucking a star in.
Did it move or the star move?
The star was getting sucked into this black, so it was just like light streams going into this black hole.
And where is it going?
Listen to this. What they thought they knew of black holes, well, they don't know a lot. Stuff gets sucked into it because it's just this mad force of gravitational pull that just sucks everything in.
Yeah.
But this year, they looked at the same black hole and it was spitting the star back out. Like, so light and stuff was coming out.
You think they killed him? You think they killed him because he killed his people? Hell no! They killed him because, listen to me real good, he touched my nerve with that question. Did you know that in Libya, nobody's homeless? Listen. Everybody in Libya has either a home or an apartment. They call it a flat. Did you know education in Libya is free? From kindergarten through college? And did you know that if a Libyan wanted to come to America to be educated, the government in Libya paid for their education? Did you know that? I was there when he opened a $500 million hospital with 18 theaters for operation. I was there, and we went when he was making their own medicines. See, this was a man that gave free medical attention to all the citizens of Libya. And if Libya did not offer that kind of medical attention, they could fly anywhere in the world and get it. And the Libyan government would pay for it. Did you know that? No, you didn't.
Well, where'd they get the money?
Did you know that from the oil money, every Libyan citizen got a stipend every year? And did you know that that man had no debt? Everything in his country was paid for. See? Now, when you got a man that did that for an African nation and was trying to do that for all Africa. How do you think Europe felt about that?
Because a lot of people are like, finding Hitler. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
They found Hitler. He died.
Yeah, I mean,
not really.
We don't know.
Right.
I mean, this isn't like Ancient Aliens. This is they declassified a bunch of documents. Both the Israelis, the British, and the Germans and Americans in the past 20 years have been consistently declassifying documents, and there were a bunch of specifically FBI documents that we were spending millions and millions of dollars actively searching for Hitler after the war, as was
Really?
Yeah, like millions of dollars. Like Hoover was like, no, send more FBI agents to South America, to North Africa, go to the Canary Islands, go to Spain, trying to find out where this guy went. The Russians got the body, and they got his skull. And when they brought it back to Moscow, nobody has ever been able to independently verify who and what this body is. They let one genetic test occur, and the body with the bullet holes that they said was Hitler, and have said, and that's the narrative, that's the story, that's all the eyewitness accounts that are even in the vicinity of collaborating with each other, and corroborating each other's testimony. Like the closest version, because none of it seems to be very accurate, is that, okay, here's Hitler's skull, and when they did the genetic testing, it's that of a 35-year-old woman. So they're like, oh, well, this isn't Hitler. So what you had in South America, both Chile and Argentina back-to-back had fascist regimes. You had Perón, who was part of the Nazi Party starting all the way back into the mid-30s. He's the president of Argentina. So the Red Cross, there was about 3 different rat lines that guys were able to successfully get out of Europe into South America. And there's no question that we're talking thousands, if not tens of thousands of high-ranking Nazis made it there.
Tens of thousands?
Tens of thousands. And I'm not talking like little soldiers. I'm talking high-ranking Nazis. But what you got in South America were isolated German-only communities. You could go into Bariloche, Argentina, and I'd be like, "Buenos dias, amigos," and they're like, "Guten Morgen?" I'm like, "Oh, yeah, I meant good morning. Yeah, sorry, it's 2017, right? I thought we spoke Spanish here."
So in 2017, you were there, and they were speaking German.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah. Well, I don't look very. I might look more European than I do. So it's just them seeing me walking down the street and be like,
"Wow."
Yeah. And there's tons of communities. I mean, if you go to Colonia Dignidad, which is now called Villa Bavaria, it is.
You've left the United States of America.
Yes, sir, I have.
Why?
I do not feel safe living in the United
Really?
States.
Do you want to come in and sit down?
No, sir, I'd rather not.
You'd rather just be here so you can make a fast exit if you have
As
to.
soon as you and I finish,
You're out of
I'm
here.
leaving the country again. Why? Because in a very short time, not today, not tomorrow, but very soon, we'll be facing compulsory vaccination under the mistaken term of voluntary vaccination.
What is it about these vaccinations? You think that they're bad?
Well, first of all, let's start with the fact that the World Health Organization has decided that we have 90% too many people. The World Health Organization has been working since 1974 on vaccines to create permanent sterility.
That's how you do it.
Is gonna be, you're crazy.
Thin the herd.
How can you say this stuff?
They will induce a pandemic. You're going to get the flu. Everybody around us is going to get the flu. Then the United States government, based on their statements that they've already made, will say, oh my, we have a pandemic. What that means is a Holocaust, a genocidal Holocaust.
Conspiracy theories that will change your perspective on life. The last one is the most shocking. The Big Bounce theory. It states that if the Big Bang occurred from nothing, then there will be no changing fact the next time. Ancestry DNA and the rest of those ancestry websites are run by the government to have access to people's DNA across reference crimes, etc. The food we have been eating in the United States is a huge part of the mental illness going on today. Like and follow for more interesting yet mind-bending conspiracies.
That's it. The food's bad.
I guess sometimes people just look alike. You can't see it. I'm not saying nothing by this. They're probably related, right? Same bloodline. I mean, they don't look that much alike. And then there's people that do this. Like, come on, we know that's just an old photo of them with a filter on it. Now, these two, they must share some blood, you know? They're same bloodline. Cousins, maybe? Now, that has to be a coincidence. You know, I don't even know who that is. That's Hillary Clinton. Now, these two don't even look alike, really. Come on, guys. Come on. They're just all related, right? That's the answer here. We know everyone in Hollywood is related.
Maybe the same hair.
Just a filter. That's probably from a movie he did. Same here. There's no way it could be clones or anything like that. Now, come on, this is probably the same person. I don't really know celebrities, guys.
No, those are not even the same person.
Again, coincidence, family, come on. It's not like there was ancient people who preserved their DNA, that way they could be copied in the future. And it's not like cloning is...
And I ask the audience this, when you survey the world today, you know, when a child dies in this world of preventable disease every 2 seconds, when the economic system of the world must destroy the earth simply for that system to survive, when you see all the wars and when you see all the pain and when you see all the suffering, is it a force of love and wisdom and tolerance that is in control of this planet? Or is it a force that wishes to bring about the very hate, the very aggression, the very suffering? Because the key thing to get over, Terry, is this. When we think, it is not a vacuum. When we think, we create an energy field. This is how telepathy works. An energy field leaves one being and other beings can tune into it and read that thought. When you think thoughts of love and wisdom and of tolerance and all the things we wish to bring to the earth, you create a certain kind of thought energy, the very same energy that the Godhead sends around creation. When you think the other thoughts of hatred, of anger, of aggression, you create a different kind of energy known as negativity, which is very, very destructive. This being called Lucifer lives off this energy. So the more that is produced on this planet, the more powerful that being becomes. Therefore, he stimulates and has stimulated this planet over 12,000 years since he's been in control to produce as much of this energy as possible. And I ask the audience this, when you survey the...
Let's watch as Mick Toon and Austin Whitsitt respond to commenters asking them to show their breath in the Antarctic. As they blow hot air out their mouths in freezing temperatures, there should be a cloudy mist that forms in front of their faces as the water vapor in their breath condenses. Instead, however, every time they blow, not a trace of fog appears. In Whitsitt's live stream, he claimed this was because the air was allegedly too dry there. Someone then asks him to pick up some snow, which he initially refuses to do because his hands would be too cold. So he turns his camera off, walks into the shed to grab some gloves, then comes back in front of the camera and exhales 1.5 breaths, which now mysteriously do show vapor appearing in front of his face, only to abruptly stop again. He says to the camera, "There's a little breath. What's up now?" As if somehow proving the skeptics wrong, and claiming that he took a sip of water in the shed, which was supposed to account for it. Another camera, recording from a different angle, however, caught Whitsitt while exiting the shed, doing what appears to be hitting a vape pen, just before turning his camera back on. For comparative purposes, here is what someone's breath looks like during winter in Maine, USA. Every time you exhale, there is a visibly noticeable, cloudy fog that condenses from the difference in temperature between the hot air in your lungs and the cold air outside. So after exhaling his vape hit into the camera, rather than picking up some of the snow that was all around him, for some reason, Austin walks several feet away and picks up a bit of snow from over there, then walks it back to the camera and lets it fall to the ground. If snow is everywhere all around him, why did he have to walk way over there to get some? Anytime close-up footage of their feet was shown, their footprints always failed to make any impression in the snow. Here, he moves his left foot, and there is no impression, footprint, or displaced snow. Let's watch as Mick and Austin Whitsitt respond to commenters asking them to show their breath in the Antarctic. As they blow hot...
So that was a fake video.
I figured it out. I figured it all out. I know what the 144,000 is. Do you understand? I figured it all out. I know how they doing the spells on y'all. I know how God's chosen people are marked. Do y'all understand? Y'all hear this out. For your soul, you hear me? For your soul, hear this out. Okay? Don't switch off because this ain't what you're used to hearing. I found it all out. The 144,000 is a frequency. How did I come to this? After studying the information on the chakras and the hidden messages in the Bible, I realized that we are supposed to learn the knowledge of both of them side by side. How did I come to this? I came to this because it says that Jacob wrestled with God at a place called Peniel. This is a chakra reference, and that struck my attention. So I started reading through the Bible with this in mind. Then later I saw a verse that said, if a man's eye be single, then his whole body will be filled with light. This is another chakra reference. So then I began to pray and ask why is chakra knowledge hidden throughout the Bible? And it came over me, y'all. When Yeshua, aka Jesus, needed to defeat the flesh and keep his energy high in an evil world, he went and fasted. When Moses needed to talk to God, he always fasted. Now I asked, what does fasting have to do with chakras? And I heard my soul say these are the 7 deadly sins we must overcome to activate the next level of your true form. So I started breaking it down, and I began to unravel the spells they put on us through frequency and vibration, y'all. Certain color frequencies vibrate high, with the highest frequency colors being violet, indigo, and blue, and the lowest colors being red, orange, and yellow. This is how they're putting the spells on us, y'all. You could be listening to the most beautiful song ever and not know you are being stripped of your energy. So when you see an award show, a ceremony, a movie, or go to certain organizations, they can say all the nice things that everybody want to hear. But if you see the theme of the event or show or movie is based on colors that are red, orange, yellow, then you are under an all-out frequency attack, which is lowering your vibration away from the 144,000, which is if you guys dealing with yellow, orange, and red, that is the lowest chakra of your existence. So when you see the Pope in red, and you see the red hat people in the red shoe club, these are all people who work in unclean energy because the colors they signify show what they are into. This is why all the low vibrational movies and videos are mainly red, yellow, and gloomy themes. It's taking your energy. You understand? People that wear red, yellow, and green in the industry, these are people that are into unclean stuff like sexual immorality, you understand? Lustful things. This is what the colors signify. So when y'all watching videos and things like that, watch these colors. If it's red, yellow, green, or orange, they snatching something from you. You understand? Listen to me. Let me keep going, and I'm going to show y'all how it's all tied in. We are supposed to reach the 144,000 frequency to communicate with the God by activating the temple that was made to house God, which is called your body. It says God's people will bear a mark on their forehead. That is the final chakra activation of the pineal gland, which will allow you to ascend. I'm going to use this movie as a reference. You know, in the movie Matrix, where they have to have a certain signal to be able to exit through the phone line. The 144,000 frequency is the dial tone frequency we need in order to escape this system. This is why the angels are trapped. They can't reach the frequency of 144,000 anymore because they have been cut off from God due to rebellion. Do y'all hear what I'm saying? To reach the 144,000 frequency mark on your forehead.
If the moon is supposed to be a giant ball of rock 238,000 miles away, then why can we see so much dang detail on it with just a regular old camera? I mean, seriously, craters, shadows, shapes. You can zoom in like it's your neighbor's
AI
backyard.
upscaling.
Shouldn't it be just a blurry speck if it's that far? Something's not adding up. And it might just flip your entire worldview upside down. Or should I say, flatten it. We've all been taught since kindergarten that the moon orbits around Earth. It reflects sunlight, and it's millions of square miles wide and far, far away. But there's a weird number of things about the moon that don't make sense on a spinning globe. First off, the moon doesn't rotate the way we'd expect. It always shows us the same face. How? on a spinning ball zipping through space at over 1,000 miles per hour? And here's a kicker. The moon actually produces its own light. Yeah, laugh all you want. But why is moonlight demonstrably cooler than moonshade?
I will laugh.
Sunlight doesn't do that, at all. Now here's where it gets juicy. Flat Earth models offer a totally different take, and honestly it weirdly fits. Instead of imagining the moon as a distant rock floating in space, think of it as a much smaller, local light source circling above us like a spotlight. This explains why moonlight has those cool temperature anomalies, why we see so much surface detail, and why its phases seem so precise and mechanical. It's like a clock in the sky, not a chaotic chunk flying through space. Oh, and those lunar eclipses? There are even ancient records of eclipses happening while both the sun and moon were visible in the sky at the same time. How's that possible on a globe? Let's break it down even more. Ever noticed how shadows from the moon don't line up with the sun's angle? Or how moonlight can actually reduce visibility in some cases instead of helping us see? Flat earthers argue that's because it's...
This is ridiculous. Don't you know who I am? My husband was President Dwight D. Eisenhower.
Did we elect a new president? No, asshole. He was the president a long time ago. Is he the one with the $20 bill?
If it weren't for the treaty my husband signed, none of this would be possible.
She's right. We owe your husband everything, Mrs. Eisenhower. I admire him very much. My name is Theta. What can we do for you?
I want to see what my husband helped accomplish. He never got the chance. I think it's only right that I do.
This was an American Horror Story. Try to make alien hybrids. Hello, Tag.
It's not what you imagined.
I didn't expect it to be.
Yeah, that season was pretty good.
In a way, you're as much a mother as the one who bore it. It's best not to think of it as a person and more as
livestock.
I was going to say a machine. A wonderful piece of technology that's going to save the world.
Humans are not machines. We're not technology to be used against our will.
Who runs your world now, Mimi? The people or the machines? Which would last longer if the other suddenly disappeared?
You say you admired my husband. Then you must know he would never have wanted this. He never would have sanctioned the end of the human race.
Who said anything about ending the human race?
You don't know. You haven't been told the plan. They're going to kill everyone and take the planet for themselves.
Now, I don't know who it is.
That's the plan.
I don't know why. But somebody
Take the planet.
telling a lie.
See what happens.
They
though.
say that this is the Chaco Canyon, and it's nothing more than some ancient huts and burial grounds. But the eyes are useless when the mind is blind. This site right here, this site is intergalactic. You have to understand, this whole region is mapped out in alignment with the stars and the planets. Now, how could somebody with no telescope,
Yeah, most likely
entire village,
ancient civilization
with a solar system,
or aliens.
unless he was from there and he was planning on going back? They've even got something called the Sun Dagger, which still is the most accurate astronomical calendar to this day. And then I find out that NASA have been involved and have been carrying out researchers and own part of the rights to the site. Oh, that's when I knew. Oh, you son of a bitch. So what you're really looking at is a docking station and an ancient launch pad left behind by higher beings from a different realm. Now, I don't know who it is.
Can you believe this?
China is literally bulldozing the desert on purpose. Hundreds of bulldozers and graders rolling into the...
They told us plumbing was primitive before the modern age, but the evidence says otherwise. In Tartaria, toilets weren't just for waste. They were part of the healing grid. Ceramic basins shaped with sacred geometry, pipes lined with copper, quartz, and sometimes even silver. Water wasn't just flushed, it was charged. As it flowed, it carried away waste and stagnant energy from the body. The water itself passed through resonance chambers before it reached you. It came in structured, mineralized alive, leaving you lighter, cleaner, balanced. The waste didn't just vanish into a sewer. It went through alchemical filtration systems, turning back into clean water or natural fertilizer without polluting rivers. Public bathhouses and private homes were part of the same closed-loop system. No smell, no disease, no modern sewage plants. The tech, buried. The blueprints disappeared. Now we're told the best we can do is porcelain bowls and chemical water. They didn't just downgrade our comfort, they downgraded our health. Every part of life in Tartaria worked with the body, not against it.
If you were born 10 years ago, how old would...
Happened was people, very smart people, began to figure out that something big was coming up. Something that made it so all the possibilities of all the future scenarios of any choice, any possibility that was fed in and observed through the looking glass inherently ended up in the same future. And no decision, no possibility changed past a certain point. That's the big secret.
Okay, so is that certain point 2012 in your understanding?
It well coincides with December 21st, 2012.
So at that point, all possibilities lead to the same
Timelines.
Rubicon.
All possible timelines lead to the same basic set of history in the future.
And what is that history to you? Did you know that, or did you find that out?
That is the big question. That is the big secret. That is what sends everybody that has all of the information, that knows everything, into a blind panic. The people that know everything about Looking Glass, that have gotten all the reports and all the information, the elites of the world, probably figured out that that was the end of the game. And nothing could be manipulated beyond that point.
So do you think that's held true? In other words, well, I have about 60 questions, but do you think that's true or holding true, that nothing could be manipulated, that they haven't found a way to manipulate, that that's still the case? I mean, this is knowledge that you would have gained back when?
Back when I was in the military, it would have been before '97 when I got in trouble. And what happened was people, very smart people, began to figure out that
Hello, world. Prince William and Kate Middleton had their first child. When she brought the baby out to be presented to the public, she was wearing the exact same dress Mia Farrow was in the movie, Rosemary's Baby. It was very strange. First portrait, Will and Kate Middleton. And she was wearing the vampire's wife's dress. The vampire's wife's dress. That's what she wore. You have now King Charles, who says he's related. He's a blood relative to Vlad the Impaler. He's literally related to Dracula. Prince William.
You, because you're 93 years old. Were you not offered to live 3,000 years, or did you? What's your, relationship with them? Are they just, giving you upgrades so you lasted even this long, or are they gonna allow you to leave the earth and, you know, leave this body, this vehicle, and go back and join them?
Let's talk for a minute about extended life. Okay? Now, extended life didn't start here in the United States last week. Okay? Extended life was even implemented into the information that the Draco reptilian group educated some of the German people. So
no doubt about it.
Yeah. Now, so again, you say, well, what's extended life? Extended life was heavily involved in the secret think tank inside of Douglas. Okay, another subject. But then at TRW, where I worked later on, it was a really big program. I mean, really big program with hundreds of people involved. Okay?
But even before that, the Nazis were reverse aging people.
Yes.
I have a witness about that who actually said Werner von Braun was one of them.
Okay, I've heard that. I don't know that.
All right.
Dr. Debus, all I got was he shaked his head. So I don't know that when that came up.
Shaked his head no or yes?
No. So maybe he was, I don't know.
Right.
All
Well,
right? But,
why would they tell us?
yeah, but whatever. And I spent a lot of time with that whole week with essentially the #1 guy managing NASA. Okay? Von Braun was supposedly the head of everything. Debus was the real head of everything.
Okay.
Okay, back to extended life. As it is sort of addressed today, what you do is you take an aspirin-sized pill, one every month for 4 months, okay? Or it could be an injection. Immediately you start feeling much better, okay? Immediately you start feeling much better. At the end of, or probably way before 4 months, the guys revert back to the latest number is 29. I've heard 23, I've heard all different dates, but say you go back to 29. So you've got everything physically that you had at that age, muscular, everything. And the young ladies go back to 21, okay? You have everything that you had at that point, plus you have a minimum of 400% greater capability of your brain, okay?
Okay, so that you have said that on other shows. Now I want to know, again, what's their relationship with you? Are you going to take one of those pills one of these days?
I want to sign.
If gravity is real on a giant spinning globe, where are the upside-down people? Like, seriously, why can't we just zoom out and see folks walking on the bottom of the ball? Shouldn't someone, somewhere, be walking with their head pointing to the sky? Now think about it. We've got satellites, space stations, telescopes, and our 4K cameras floating in orbit. But not one single live video that shows the entire Earth with planes flying in all directions or cities underneath the planet. Where's the global shot of Australia with buildings upside down? Where are the jets flying sideways or upside down below the equator? They say, oh, it's too far to zoom out. Really? We've sent probes past Pluto.